Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Michael Fortin. I am the Director of Promotion for the Maine Tax Portal here at Maine Revenue Services. I am joined by our panelist, Lori Brand, Deputy Director of the Sales, Fuel, and Special Tax Division. And it's my pleasure to be your MC for our webinar on the milk handling fee and initiator of deposit for the new Maine Tax Portal that became available on October 10th, 2023, that marked our third rollout of the Maine Tax Portal. The portal is now open for individuals and most Maine businesses to file and pay taxes, view notices, and much more. You can visit the MTP information page at maine.gov/revenue/portal to learn when you can get started for your specific tax type. I'll give you that website again. It's maine.gov/revenue/portal. Before Lori gets started with her presentation, I have a few housekeeping items to review with everyone. First, the raise hand button at the bottom of the Zoom screen will not be used for today's session, although you'll have many opportunities to ask questions. Today's webinar is designed to be interactive. Therefore, when Lori begins her presentation, I will be enabling all of our attendees with the ability to unmute your microphones and talk with Lori should you have any questions. Attendees who don't have a mic or who are simply more comfortable typing out your question can use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your Zoom screen. Lori will answer as many questions as possible, and if we're unable to address your questions live, then we will follow up via email following the webinar. There may be times when you'd like Lori to repeat a step that you've missed, or perhaps you're simply unable to watch the entire session today. Therefore, it would be helpful to know that today's webinar has been recorded and can be viewed by anyone who's registered. There are no documents or presentation materials that you'll need for today's webinar. Feel free to take notes, but know you can always rewatch the recorded material anytime you'd like to review it. And finally, we should be reminded there can be unexpected technical challenges. We need to remember that Lori is speaking to you live, so therefore we appreciate your understanding and ask for your patience if we should experience any technical difficulties. That concludes all of our housekeeping items. One last point is that along with Lori today, behind the scenes, we have Tabitha and Tyler helping us with a demonstration of the Maine Tax Portal. So we'd like to thank them as well. Lori, let's get started.
All right, thank you, Mike. All right, everyone, welcome to the Maine Revenue Services Maine Tax Portal webinar. Today, Tabitha and I will be demonstrating Maine Tax Portal functionality, including how to create a username and password for Maine Tax Portal access, how to file and pay a milk handling fee return, and an initiator of deposit return. None of the data that we are using for this demonstration is true taxpayer data. It is all created in our development environment. And since we're using a development environment, you will see blue populate links besides some fields such as banking information, which will not be available to you in the production environment. Preferred browsers for the Maine Tax Portal are Chrome, Edge, and Firefox. Internet Explorer is not recommended or supported. We're now entering rollout 3 of the Maine Tax Portal, and anyone with a tax type from the previous rollouts can use the system. Some of those tax types are corporate, sales, use, service provider, withholding, and healthcare provider, just to name a few. This rollout includes hospital tax, individual income tax, cigarette, tobacco products, milk handling, and initiator of deposit taxes. Taxpayers with a milk handling fee or initiator of deposit account will receive invitation letters containing their new 8-digit account number and detailed information on how to utilize the portal and create a username and password, which we'll show you in this demonstration. You can begin creating your profile now. You do not need to wait for the letter, so we'll show you how to do that. If you have questions, please be sure to ask them during the presentation. We're now going to show you how to create that user ID and password using a letter ID and a tax amount. There are 2 different ways that you can do it. So let's head to the Maine Tax Portal. We're going to begin on the Maine Revenue Services homepage, which is showing on the screen right now, and that website is maine.gov/revenue. So to access the Maine Tax Portal, you can select either the red File and Pay button, or you can navigate to the top menu, Electronic Services, and select Maine Tax Portal. So let's select that, and here we are. This is the Maine Tax Portal homepage. So from here, there are 2 ways to create that username. You can select Create a Username at the top right of the home screen under the Login button, or you can navigate to the Quick Links panel, select Register and Apply, and then select Create a Username. So let's select that, and you'll see 4 options. And you must select one of these options. I represent a business or organization, which means that your tax accounts are registered under an EIN. I am a sole proprietor, which means that your accounts are under a social security number or an ITIN. I represent a municipality or county, and that means that you're a branch of government. And finally, that you're an independent third party or licensed payroll processor, which covers bookkeepers and accounting firms as an example. For today's demonstration, we'll select option 1, that we represent a business or organization, and then we'll select Next. On this screen, you're shown the information that is required for you to proceed with creating your username. So make sure that you have everything that you need, and then once you have the information, you can select Next. The Validate Tax Information section contains required information as noted by the red asterisks. You'll see these frequently throughout the Maine Tax Portal. So you will need to select an ID type, such as a federal ID, individual taxpayer identification number, or social security number. Because we represent a business or organization, the only option available to us is a federal ID. So we're going to select that option, and then we'll enter that ID, and then an account type that is associated with your business. If you look at that dropdown and your account type is not available, you cannot proceed with creating your username because the tax type is part of the verification process. Today, we're going to select a milk handling fee, and then we're going to select Next. The verification type asks for either the amount due or refunded from one of your 3 past filed returns. 0 returns cannot be used for verification. If you have only filed 0 returns, you can use the letter ID from any letter that you've received from Maine Revenue Services. So we're going to select option 1 for an amount due or refunded, and then we'll select Next. And here you can either select the tax return amount or tax refunded button. And we're going to select the tax return amount. And this is the amount from any 3 past filed returns. So now that we've entered that amount, we can select Next. And here we're shown the panel or page where we will begin to create our user profile. At this time, we're going to select the previous button at the bottom of the screen twice. And we're going to show you how to create a username using the letter ID. So we're selecting that option for letter ID, and then we can select Next. And let's put up an example of that letter. Right, this is the invitation letter or an example of an invitation letter that you would receive for the Maine Tax Portal. Required information is the letter ID and the letter date up in the top right-hand corner. Those 2 pieces of information must match. And when I say that, I mean that you can't use a letter ID from a letter that you received in September, as an example. That letter ID has to match that particular letter. All right, so let's get back to entering that information. Here we'll enter the letter ID and letter date from a letter that we've received. And we can select Next. And here we are, right back at that same user panel. So we're going to create our username. This name is created by you. It's whatever you want to use. And then you'll enter your first and last name, or email address, and then again for confirmation. You'll be required to select yes or no for paperless mail delivery, and we're going to say no. Keep in mind that some pieces of mail, even if you select yes, are required to be sent via U.S. Postal Service. This next panel is a security panel, and you're required to enter the password that you would like to use. Password requirements are at least 12 characters containing a mix of upper and lowercase letters, at least 1 number, and 1 special character. You can view the password requirements by clicking the blue circled eye icon beside the word password, and that is being demonstrated now. To make sure that your passwords match, you can select the blue eye at the end of the password field to view. Passwords are only visible until they match, at which time they will turn to all asterisks and no longer can be viewed. You'll also be required to select and answer a secret question. And finally, a phone number. The phone type defaults to a cell phone, but you can select whichever phone type you'd like to use from the dropdown. When you've entered the information, you can select Next. And now we are at a summary of everything that we have entered so far. Take a look and make sure that the information is correct, that you don't want to change anything, and then select Submit. You will be required to enter your email address twice for confirmation, and again, that is something that you will see throughout the Maine tax portal. We'll select OK, and there's your confirmation. Your confirmation code is showing on the screen. You can also select Printable View if you'd like to use your browser print functionality to print that out. You'll also Nope, that's all there is on that. I do want to take a moment to talk about user roles. So you've created your username. What does that mean? There are several different types of user roles within the Maine tax portal. There are the roles that are primary are master access, admin user, and regular user. So master access is usually or typically the person who creates the username and login first, but it is the person who has access to everything in the portal. Admin and user do not have access to everything within the portal. Your master account holder will usually create usernames and passwords for users so that they can access something, say, a milk handling fee return only, if that's what they want you to have access to. By doing the process that we just did, that automatically makes you an admin user. So you should have access to see most everything within the portal. The only thing that you can't do is you can't create additional access roles. So before we move on, does anybody have any questions about what we've just done? All right. Hearing none, let's go file that milk handling fee return. So this activity requires that you be logged into the portal. We'll do that now with the username and password that we just created. And from here, we're going to need to set up two-step authentication. You'll only need to do this setup one time, but you will need to authenticate each time that you access the Maine tax portal. So you can select any one of these three options, but you need to make sure that you have access to that verification method every time that you want to log into the portal. We're going to select to add an email, and we'll enter that email address, and then select Save. And we're going to select Populate, but this is where you would enter the security code that is sent to you through your selected authentication method. And then we'll select Confirm. And now we have logged into the Maine tax portal. From here, you should be able to see all of the account types that are registered under the EIN that you used to create your profile. So right now we are on what is called the Summary tab. And the Summary tab is what it shows. It's a summary of each account type that you have within that entity that you created. So the next tab is called the Action Center, which shows the number and type of actions that you need to take, if any. The next tab is called Settings, and this is where you can set a default payment method, change your mail notification method, and mail delivery, just a few of the options that you have. The final tab is titled More, and this tab probably has the most functionality. This is where you will find submissions, messages, letters for Maine Revenue Services, including your filed returns and payments. You can update your names and addresses in addition to other account management requests. So to show just a little piece of functionality within this section, we're going to navigate to the Letters panel and select the View Letters link. So here we can see any letters that have been sent to us by Maine Revenue Services. You can also reprint any letters that have been sent to us by clicking on the letter type link, which brings up the letter, and you'd use your browser's print functionality to print it out. If you had a large number of letters, and after a while using the portal, you may have quite a number of letters, you can filter them out by typing a keyword in the filter located on the right side of the page, which is being demonstrated now. So let's file that milk handling return. We're going to navigate back to the summary panel by selecting the business name at the top of the screen, and then we'll select summary, and we'll move to the milk handling fee panel. And here we are. All right, so you'll see in order to file the return, we're going to select the View and File Returns link. So from here, note that you have a couple of different options. So you'll see periods that are available on the left-hand side, and then you'll see the File Now link on the right-hand side. Make sure that the File Now link that you're clicking is corresponding with the period that you want to file, because you do have a couple of options there. So we're going to select the period that ends in July of 2023. And now we're going to be shown some demographic information. There is that one required field as noted by the red asterisk. And we're going to select no, that we have not gone out of business. Then we can select next. And here we'll enter the lines that are applicable to our business, starting with the gross gallons. Each line provides help text when you click on the line description text or the blue circled I. If there is no available help text, it is a calculated line. So we've entered amounts on gross gallons, gallons excluded, and a credit claimed for exported gallons. So now we can select next. And let's take a look at the top, the blue bar across the top of the screen. That blue bar is documenting your process as you go through the return or application, whatever function it is that you're doing in the portal. You can select the screen name by each check if you'd like to navigate backwards. You can also select the previous button at the bottom of the screen if you'd like to go backwards through the application or return. You can also select to save a draft, which will save a draft of whatever activity you're doing, or you can select cancel, which will cancel the activity that you are in. So we're going to proceed with our filing of the return. And because we entered an amount for credit claimed on exported gallons, we're going to need to upload a milk handling fee refund form as an attachment to support our claim. To add an attachment, you're going to want to click on the Add Attachment link, the blue link in the right-hand corner. And then once you'll be next required to add a description of whatever it is, whatever form, and then choose File. Choosing the file will allow you to open your file browser, and you can pick the file that you want. And then you can select OK. And that populates in the attachments table below. If you don't already have a pre-filled form, then you can download one from that link that says Maine Milk Handling Fee Refund Form. So we are all set with this. We can select next. And here we're shown the amount due based on entries that we entered so far. And we'll be asked if we want to make a payment. We're going to say no to that and then select next. And this brings you to the no payment confirmation because we want to verify. Are you sure you don't want to make a payment? You'll be asked if you want to pay later, or you can choose to make a payment now. So we're going to continue by selecting pay later and then next. And again, here is a summary of everything that we've entered. So everything does look good. So we can select next. And here we're shown a declaration. This is required. that you check the box and enter the name of the individual filing the return. You'll do that twice for confirmation, and then select Submit. And here you will receive your confirmation number. You can print this out for your records by selecting Printable View. If you chose to, or if you decided at this point that you really did want to make a payment with this return, you can always select the print voucher / pay by check option, and that will print a voucher that you can send in with your check payment. We do ask that you do not print a copy of the return or send a copy of the return that you just filed through the portal with your check. We don't need that information. We can just use the voucher. So from here, we're going to navigate back to the Summary tab. And we're going to, yep, here we go, clicking the business name. Before we go into the next activity of filing an initiator of deposit return, does anybody have any questions? Okay, hearing none, let's move to the initiator of deposit panel, and we will again select the View and File Returns link. So here you'll see again those 2 or 3 periods, multiple periods that show file now, and it also shows the status that your return is overdue or that it's blank, which means it's not yet due. So make sure again that you pick the right period that you want to file. We're going to select the period ending August 31st of 2023. And here is that demographic information. Select what's right for your business, but we're going to select no, we haven't gone out of business. And then we can select next. And let's take a second to look at the fields on this return. This is the updated initiator of deposit return. We've added a breakdown of the values of the bottles that or containers that you have sold or redeemed. So you want to give this a look and make sure that you enter the information accurately because this is a look back return. Okay, so let's enter our values in as appropriate for our business. Okay, and then once we're done, we can select next. So again, that page was the primary driver of this return. In addition, this return is a look back. It looks back at the 2 previously filed returns, and most of the values for the remainder of the return are driven by those 2 things, the previous 2 returns filed and that first page. So on this page, the deposit transaction fund balance and amount calculation. So here, everything has been calculated for us. If you find that any of these fields do not look correct, while you can modify them, you should be filing an amended return for whichever of the 2 previously filed returns were incorrect. So from here, everything does look good to us. We can select next. And now we're at the abandoned deposit section. Again, pre-populated by those 2 previously filed returns and what we entered on the first page. Give this a look. And since everything looks okay, we can select next. And here we are shown the balance. So we'll be asked if we would like to make a payment with this return. We're going to say yes this time. And then we'll select next. On the payment method screen, you'll be required to enter a bank routing number, but we're going to select the populate bank routing number. And that pre-populates your bank name based on that entry. We'll now enter our bank account number twice for confirmation. And you'll be required to select from either savings or checking account. So we're going to select checking. And do we want to save this payment channel for future use? So we're going to say no to that and then move over to the payment panel. So the payment defaults to the current date, but you can choose a future date so long as it is not past the return due date. The payment amount defaults to the full amount due, but you can choose to pay a different amount if you're not able to make that full payment. So we're going to enter our amount in, and then we're going to confirm it, and then we can select next. Here we're shown a summary of everything entered so far, and because the return is pretty long, the summary is long. So you can still make changes to the return by selecting the previous button, but everything looks good, so we're going to select next. And here we have the required declaration. So we'll sign our name to this and then select submit. And here we will receive our confirmation number. Okay, so that is the end of that activity. We have received a number of questions about debit block numbers and our current Easy Pay system, which is our payment-only portal. The debit block number that you are using, if you are using one, will not change, but after December 31st of 2023, the Easy Pay system will no longer accept payments for tax types that exist in the Maine tax portal. You should be making your payments through the Maine tax portal. So before we proceed with some additional payment functionality, does anybody have any questions about what we've demonstrated so far? Okay, let's demonstrate some additional payment functionality. So paying the tax due in full at the time of filing is a statutory requirement. However, we do realize that other factors may come into play that prevent you from making payment in full. Some examples could include additional accrued interest or penalties for filing and paying late, or possibly an adjustment to the tax due after the return has been filed. We're going to continue with the businesses that we used earlier. So within each panel, please take a look and note that there is a Make a Payment link. Clicking on the Make a Payment link will allow you to pay a debt for the tax type that is located in. Today, we're going to make a payment towards the milk handling fee account. So we'll do that by selecting the Make a Payment hyperlink, and that will take us to the payment screen, which we just saw. So here we'll enter our bank routing number, and again, it will populate. So we will then enter our account number in twice and select the bank account type that we'll be using. Okay. And then again, you'll have the option to save your bank account information for future use. We're going to say no, but if you did select yes, that would be available to you the next time you wanted to make a payment. On a payment drop-down, there are choices available depending on the tax type that you're going to pay. To pay a liability, you would use account payment or return payment. The account payment allows you to make a general payment towards the account, while the return payment applies it directly to the filed return. Today, we're going to select the return payment, and here you are required to select a specific period to apply that payment. You can only select one period per return, and there does need to be a balance due. So for this demonstration, we're going to select the period ending July 31st, 2023. And if you're selecting a period and that due date has already passed, the payment's due date is today's date because the debt is past due. If the return you select is not yet due, you can choose a future date if you want to. So we're going to go ahead and select today's date as our debt is already past due. And then we'll select the payment amount. On returns that are past due, you will have the choice of paying the current balance or an other amount. Keep in mind that paying a lesser amount may cause interest and penalty to continue to accrue. For returns that are not yet due, the entry is freeform. Today, we're going to select Other Amount, and we're going to make a payment of $3,000. You'll need to re-enter that amount and then select Submit. You'll be asked to enter your Maine tax portal password in this field, and then you can select OK. And here's your confirmation code. So please take a note of the confirmation code or print it out, whichever you prefer. At this time, we're going to click OK, which will bring us back to the summary panel. And if needed, you will have the option to make a change or to delete a payment while it is still pending. So under the More tab, we're going to click on Search Submissions in the Submissions tab in the left-hand box. And then we're going to click on the hyperlink of the submission that we want to change, which in this case is the payment. So let's select that. And here we're brought back to that payment. From here, in the upper right-hand corner, there are options to withdraw or to delete. We're going to select withdraw, and you'll be asked if you're sure that you want to withdraw the submission, which we're going to say yes. And here's your confirmation that your submission has been withdrawn. So we can select OK. And if you want to edit your request, say you change your mind, you can select Continue Editing. And this makes the payment screen interactive. So you can edit it as you like. You can change your banking information, you can change your payment date or the amount. So we're going to change the amount and then select Submit. You'll be prompted again to enter your Maine Tax Portal password and click OK. So here is another confirmation code noting the change that you made. So your change to the payment has been successful. We're going to select OK. And here we have the option to delete the payment while it is still in the submitted stage. So from here, let's click Delete. And then let's confirm the deletion of that submission by saying yes. And OK, that confirms that the submission has been deleted. So let's go to the submissions hyperlink and then under the business name. And we'll be brought back to the main page. Okay, that concludes our demonstration. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We're going to turn it back over to you, Mike.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
We'd like to invite our audience to ask any questions you may have. You have the Q&A area at the bottom of your screen. Please type those in, and we'll give you a moment to do that. And while we're waiting, let's take a look at our Maine Tax Portal information page, which contains a lot of helpful information. And right now we're looking at the Maine Revenue Services website. This is our homepage, maine.gov/revenue. And we're going to scroll the page down. And under the heading Important Updates, you'll see the second link from the top there, Important Information about the Maine Tax Portal. We'll click that link, and that will bring us right to the Maine Tax Portal information page. If you would like to bypass the Maine Revenue Services homepage and just type it into your address bar in your browser, you can type in maine.gov/revenue/portal, and it will bring you right here. So let's take a look and see what we have on the page. We're going to scroll down a bit. You'll see 3 columns of the taxes that are currently available in the Maine Tax Portal from the first 3 rollouts, first 3 phases of the project. And you'll see milk in there, and you'll see Initiator of Deposit in the list. And below that, we have a group of blue buttons. We're going to take a look at a few of those. The first one is the Maine Tax Portal login button. So if you happen to be on this page and you would like to quickly jump over to the Maine Tax Portal and begin using the system, perform activities or non-logged in activities, that button is available. So that's a convenient way to quickly get there. The FAQs is the next button. We're going to click that and take a look at it. The FAQs are made up of questions from prior webinar attendees. So individuals like yourselves who have attended one of our prior training webinars from the first 3 rollouts, we have summarized questions that we've received and put the answers there. It's a great way to learn about the portal. It's an easy way of just looking through the questions and maybe finding something that you were wondering about, and you'll most likely see it listed there. So please check that out. We'll click the back button now, and we'll now click on the button Instructional Videos. Instructional videos are short, narrated video demonstrations of various features and functions of the Maine tax portal. They're organized into categories, so they're easy to find. I do want to point out in the Getting Started section, which is the top one there, the second video from the top is setting up a third-party account. So this would be of interest to any practitioners who may be here or taxpayers who work closely with a practitioner. If you would like them to have access to your Maine tax portal account, there is a process to set that up. That video explains it very nicely, where the practitioner can go in to their own Maine tax portal account and request access for a client, and then that client will subsequently go into their respective accounts and approve that access and make that connection possible. So an easy way to understand how that works, all described in that video, so check it out. We'll click back now again. And we'll take a look at the 4 boxes on your screen. These show each of the taxes that are being introduced in the 4 phases or rollouts of the Maine tax portal. Rollout 3 was the most recent one that was completed in October 2023. And all of the taxes that were brought in are listed there. Of course, including milk and IOD are in there. And then if you're curious about the 4th and final rollout of the Maine tax portal, you can check that out as well. And then at the bottom of the page, the olive green colored section are information all about webinars. If you are interested in attending any additional webinars, we do have some coming up. We've been running them since the beginning of the fall, so we're starting to wind down on the topics that we covered, although we do have a number of open spaces for the individual income tax webinars, and those will be starting up in January. But all of the schedule is listed there if you would like to sign up for any of those. And if you happen to miss any of the training webinars, once the topic has been concluded, we do post the video recording of those. So if you are interested, the webinar recordings button, you have access to the webinars of the past. So for example, sales tax or withholding tax and many others are all listed there, and you can watch those in their entirety. So, and then the last thing we should point out is our contact information. If you need to reach out to us, if you would like to email us or call us, our contact information is listed right there under the 4 blue boxes on your screen. The email address is taxpayerassist@maine.gov. I'll give that to you again, taxpayerassist@maine.gov. And that telephone number is 207-624-9784. One more time, 207-624-9784. All right, thank you for your attention on that. I do not see any additional questions that have come in. It looks like we have addressed everybody's concerns today. So I think we're ready to close out our session. We do want to recap some important things, though, before we do. Let's give thanks to Lori, Tyler, and Tabitha for a great job today and showing us all about the portal. We want to thank our attendees today for taking the time out of your morning to join us and learn all about the portal. As a reminder, we have recorded today's session, so tomorrow everybody will be receiving a link in your email to go to the Zoom website and view the recording if you'd like to review it. And we'd like to recap a few of those important points. That the Maine tax portal is now open for individuals and most Maine businesses to file and pay taxes, view notices, and as you can see, you can do a whole lot more. The milk handling fee and initiator of deposit became live on October 10th, 2023, so it is open and ready to go right now. So you can visit the MTP information page to learn when you can get started for your specific tax type, and plus you'll be able to access all of those resources, the instructional videos and the FAQs and the webinar recordings and all of that material. So that website again is maine.gov/revenue/portal. And if anyone has a question, please reach out to us. That email address and phone number, one more time, taxpayerassist@maine.gov, or call us at 207-624-9784. We will conclude today's webinar. Thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.